Good morning. This uh, training session this morning will be on customizing dashboards in Transaction Desk. To begin, we're going to open Transaction Desk. Now, there's two dashboards in Transaction Desk, or actually there's three, but the two that we're going to be focusing on today is the agent dashboard and the transaction dashboard. The third that we won't focus on today, but is very much like the agent dashboard, is called the broker dashboard, and that only applies to managing brokers. So the dashboard includes the information that's most important to you as, this case, an agent. So whenever we load Transaction Desk, it comes into the agent dashboard. And there are two items on the dashboard. There are these blue items, which are over here to the left, and those are shortcuts, or what I would refer to as action items. And you can have as many of those as you want. What I mean by a shortcut or an action item is they take you to do something. Like these blue ones that I have loaded by default. This is to fax a document, or start an Authentisign, or email something, or upload a document, or create a transaction. These other ones out here, you'll see whenever we add them on, they're green icons that we can add, and those are referred to as widgets. And those widgets are summaries or kind of at-a-glance information for those type of items that are included in your transactions. So to begin, we need to open up the widgets panel on our agent dashboard. And to do that, I'm going to click the little lock right here, and you will see now we have a scroll item, or a scroll bar of blue and green items, or shortcuts, or summary items that we can add to Transaction Desk. And the ones that are grayed out are the ones that we already have out here. So for instance, this create transaction icon, it's grayed out because we already have that transaction icon out here. You'll notice if I close it out, then I've got it back up here blue. So again, these blue ones up here, all the way through fax documents, that would be blue if it wasn't on there. Those are shortcuts or action items. And then everything past that, those green, those are summary info. So what we can do is we can drag and drop and change the size of any of these items out here on our agent dashboard. So for instance, if I wanted that create transaction, if that's something I use all the time, I could put it out here. But then you'll notice I can drag it and drop it wherever I would like on the pane, including if we wanted it out here or wherever. So I'm going to leave these in the list now. And I'll show you some of the widgets. So some of the widgets that we already have on is this transactions widgets, and those are all of my most recent transactions. And I can make that bigger or smaller as I see fit. That one really doesn't need to be much bigger, but you can stretch that out and kind of place that wherever you would like. Some of our other widgets up here, these checklists, these are checklists from transactions that you currently use. So let me pull that on and you'll see, and it tells you the status of the complete status of the checklist. So you'll see on these, I'm not doing a very good job. I'm only 0% complete on those checklists. This recent signings, this is my Authentisign down here. So when they happened, whether or not they've been approved, etc. Recent forms I've done is right here. Now it shows you what transaction it's come, because these will be from multiple transactions up here. Any documents that have been rejected, this is if you're using broker or manager approval. So you'll see mine's probably going to be blank, but it said rejected document reviews. That's if you're using transaction management for broker approval. Requested changes or missing items, those two also have to do with broker approval. So, you know, if there's any requested changes to a transaction from your broker or administrator, or if there's anything that they've done is missing. This is our documents pane, and you'll see this one is already added on. So these are any documents that have recently been uploaded to transactions, or anything that's recent in a transaction. Overdue items and tasks. So you'll see these kind of have calendar items. Again, mine's going to be blank, but if you've got checklists set up with task management in it, and you have overdue tasks from all your transactions, they'll show up right in here. Same thing on tasks and completed tasks. Any messages that you've added, this is out of call logs, right? Or system messages. I'm sorry, this one is system messages. So these are things from Lone Wolf or from the Transaction Desk system that they've announced. Probably not one that you're going to see on there like that, announcing the new free TD app. If we click on that, you'll see that is pretty old. That's been out there for a couple months now. So not a lot happening in that particular widget. And then here's some notes. These are tied to transactions as well. But our notes pane right there. So that is the agent dashboard. And once you get these shortcuts and widgets arranged like you would like them, every time you come back into Transaction Desk, this agent dashboard will appear just like it is right now. But once you get things set like you want them, you want to go lock this back down, and that row of widgets will disappear, and then this will be what you see every time you come into Transaction Desk. So that is the agent dashboard. What we want to talk about next is the transaction dashboard. So here's a sample one I used, 1007 Williamsburg. So this is the transaction dashboard. Now, exact same kind of process here to change that, but this is what you will see every time you come into a transaction. So again, I'll open up this, but notice you're going to have some different options here, and this only applies to the individual transaction. So like in this one, we've got a call logs widget. We didn't have that before. To be honest, we don't have any shortcuts on this one yet. But you'll see if you wanted to add a call log, and if you don't know what call logs are, we can go look at that. But again, these are shortcuts to quickly do something within a transaction, like add a call log or this email docs. If that's something you do a lot, then we add that in. We click email docs. It quickly pulls up that email pane to where I can type in the recipient or choose it from my contacts, add my items in from documents and forms, and send that out. Same thing on fax. Same thing on document upload here. If document upload is something you routinely do and you don't want to take the time to go to this documents panel and hit add and add new document here, well, a really quick way to do that from your dashboard is if we added on this documents upload widget, and then you'll see whenever we click on that, it immediately takes us to that drag and drop or click to upload functionality, and then it'll ask you where you want to put that stuff. So other widgets we can have out here. So these are the contacts for the transaction, right? So here for this one, you'll see all my contacts for that transaction. If we wanted that out there on our dashboard, that's fine. Any checklists associated with the transaction and the status on it. In this case, there are no checklists I'm using with this transaction. Missing items, I've already got the Authentisign panel out here. So I've got two Authentisigns, a counter offer and an original offer. This recents panel. So this is our most recent forms associated with this transaction. You'll see it's going to duplicate some of the forms up here, but those are recent forms. Again, this next item, they're rejected. So anything that were rejected for either managing broker review or administrator review. Just an overview of dates with the transaction, important dates. So anything that you've set in there is an important date or set in the wizard. So you'll see I've got a list date, an offer date, an acceptance date. This one hasn't been signed and accepted, and an anticipated closing date out here. Your notes pane. So again, for this transaction, right, our notes pane right here, and we can add in a note if we want to right from there. Any tasks that you have associated with this, again, I'm not going to have any, and this comes from our task pane over here. Completed items, also out of our tasks pane, okay? And last but not least, call logs. And I showed you how to add a call log there, but call logs are kind of a neat feature if you want to add them in, any kind of communication that you might have with that buyer or seller would show up in call logs. So that is setting up your dashboard and using widgets, both your agent dashboard and transaction dashboard within Transaction Desk. Hopefully that's helpful. Again, just a reminder, once you have this done, we're going to go ahead and lock that dashboard. And once that dashboard is locked, anytime that you open a transaction, so in this case, I'm in this 1007 Williamsburg drive. But if I come back to my transactions and I open up this 8 Orange Street, my transaction dashboard is going to look exactly the same. So you're setting those default preferences for any dashboard that you might use. So that is dashboards, customizing your agent dashboard and transaction dashboard in Transaction Desk. Something else I draw your attention to, if you want a summary of what each one of those widgets do, or some printed information on how to access this. Those are actually available in the help guides within Transaction Desk. And to get to those, we're going to come over here and click on the support icon on the left. It's that question mark right here in the middle, guides. And right here we have setting up your dashboards. It says there's 6 items. And you've got, this is for the managing broker, but the agent dashboard and transaction dashboard, many of the items that we went through today. But each one of those widgets, agent dashboard widgets and transaction dashboard widgets, I'll click on agent real quick. Oh, and it's asking me to save that. Let me flip over and I will show you what a couple of those look like. So agent dashboard widgets, hold on here just a second. Do a new share. So here you go. This is the agent dashboards widgets, and it will show you every single one of those icons. Again, remembering that the blue ones are shortcuts and action items. The green ones are summary or at a glance information, and it will give you a brief description of what each one of those are. And then the 2 other guides, customize your transaction dashboard. That talks about the transaction dashboard, which is what we just did, and gives you a reading on how to do that, which is what we just went through. And last, customizing your agent dashboard, same thing. So those may be useful guides, as well as this video, for you to review and talking about dashboards.